Good morning, everybody. It's a beautiful day, and I welcome you to one of the programs of the Trustees of True Riches, the first in the series of the Pavilion Dialogue. As we have mentioned previously, this program will be happening on the third month after the first two Hero to Hero sessions. So, in the last 2 months of August and September, we've had two sessions of the Hero to Hero. We had Mrs. Adedibu starting the entire program in August, followed by Mr. Nyika Oni last month. And this month, we are going to the maiden edition of the Pavilion Dialogue. And also, in January 2024, by God's grace, we'll be having another edition of the Pavilion Dialogue after the next two sessions of Hero to Hero. For us, in Trustees of True Riches, we believe that the final frontier belongs to the next generation, and each generation should pass the baton to another generation for continuity. In the entire human life and endeavor, there are 5 categories of gaps that you experience, namely ethnic or tribal, denominational, ministerial, gender, and generational. All these are well captured by the Apostle Paul in the word of liberty called the Bible in Ephesians chapters 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. You can go there for reference purposes. This morning, we'll be focusing on the last aspect and continue in that aspect for the next few months, which is a generational gap. In Ephesians chapter 6, like I mentioned earlier, it talked about drawing the heart of the father or the mother to the children and vice versa. So likewise, the hearts of the children should be drawn towards their parents. And how is the best way to do that? Is through dialogue. In present day life across the globe, we've seen that it is not a chain of command anymore. It's a chain of deliberation, of consultation. And that's why we're here as fellows and arrows of the Trustees of True Riches. This morning, it gives me great pleasure to bring on board a renowned person in that field, an entrepreneur, a lover of the next generation, who by training has been a civil and structural engineer, but has made serious impact in bringing up the next generation and impacting them. Please join me in welcoming Dr. Mrs. Ibilola Amao as she anchors this program. See you afterwards. Thank you.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on where you're calling in from. And thank you so much, TOTR, for inviting me to this session. I hope you can all hear me. So today I'm going to be speaking about becoming the best version of me, or becoming the best version of yourself. And I'm going to be talking about the can-do spirit, which is basically ensuring that we are overcomers of obstacles and we take full advantage of whatever life throws at us. I'd like to get some feedback as to if you can hear me clearly. Can you hear me clearly? Yes, okay, thank you so much. So I'm just going to get into the discussion. So basically, I think if you've been a member of the Boy Scouts or the Girls Guide or the Brownies, one of the things we're told as young people is defining success as being the best version of yourself. And there's something that says good, better, best. Never let it rest until your good is better and your better is best. So I'm a firm believer that none of us were a mistake and none of us were created to be a mistake in actual fact. So each and every one of us is divinely created to beautify the glory of God in our lives. And each and every one of us has potential to become the best version of ourselves. And when we're wired and practically born in the right place at the right time to excel the way we were wired. And one of the things that we need to look at is the environment where we were born and the family we were born into, our experiences, and how we've journeyed through life. And I would just like to say that if each and every one of us reflects on different people we've encountered, either through media, through reading of books, through engagement, through one-on-one contact, at some point you must have admired somebody and felt that this person should be my role model. And this person is somebody that I think I would love to be like, or I would like to become even better than such a person. So I think each and every one of us has to at some point analyze that this is who I would love to be. For me personally, I've looked up to Jesus Christ as an example of somebody who was able to become a leader over a period of time. And in just 3 years, he made such a significant impact that who are Christians now are people who look up to Jesus Christ. There are other human beings, such as, for me, I'll talk about Steve Jobs, Sir Richard Branson. I'll talk about women who've done great things in STEM. I'll talk about Michael Jackson, for example, Diana Ross. I'll talk about different people. I think each and every one of us has to really look at people who have excelled in one thing or the other. Nobody's perfect, but we need to look at how can I become better and what is the best version of myself. One of the scriptures that I find very interesting is 1 Peter 5:10, which is, "But the God of all grace, who hath called us unto his eternal glory by Christ Jesus, after that ye have suffered a while, make you perfect, establish, strengthen, and settle you." So I think it's a journey. It's not a dash. It's a marathon. And I'd just like to invite each and every one of us today to begin to look at the journey of becoming the best version of ourselves. And that means you must be a value creator. You must be able to analyze problems, issues, and challenges. So say, for example, you're born in a country like Nigeria where there's so many problems. I know we talk about all the things that are not wrong with Nigeria, that all the things that are wrong with Nigeria. But then you see people leave Australia, the US, Asia, Europe, the UAE, traveling to Nigeria. People are applying for Nigerian visas. People are coming to Nigeria, and people are making a lot of money because they can see problems, issues, challenges in Nigeria, and they can come up with simultaneous equations or different types of equations that enables them convert these problems, issues, and challenges into opportunities, projects, initiatives, products, and services. And one of the things I talk about are the 5 E's of national development and socioeconomic transformation, which is moving from education, which is basically going to school. A lot of us go to school in Nigeria, but I mean, take for example, or you go to school wherever you are located in the world, but you don't take that education as an opportunity to enlighten yourself. Enlightenment means going beyond what you're taught in class. Reading, researching, going online, gathering data, information, and putting things together in a way whereby you are able to logically and creatively think through the information you're gathering. From enlightenment, we need to move to empowerment. Empowerment is really about upgrading yourself and beginning to connect dots and say, okay, I know this, I know that, I can see this, I can see that. What is the who, what, why, when, how, which, where? You begin to apply those questions. And that's critical reasoning, innovative thinking, thinking out of the box. And then you need to go on to engagement. From engagement, you begin to apply knowledge. Your wisdom, your knowledge, your understanding, you begin to play in the space where you have a core competence. You begin to look at forming teams, working in collaboration with each other, with other people. You look at partnership, collaboration, alliances, teamwork. Together, each achieves more. And then from engagement, you move into entrepreneurship. And the ultimate position to be is to have an entrepreneurial spirit. An entrepreneurial spirit is where you have the conversion factor of converting problems, issues, and challenges into opportunities, projects, initiatives, products, and services. So I talk a lot about STEM, science, technology, engineering, and maths. So you have STEMpreneurs, you have techpreneurs, you have intrapreneurs. So even if you have a job and you're working in an organization, you can still apply your potential, your talent, and your passion to engage your co-workers, your superiors, your peers, even the owners of the business where you work, and help them understand that that you have noticed there's a problem within the system, and you are able to suggest how to solve and tackle that problem. So even if you're not an entrepreneur per se running your own business, you are a value creator within the organization where you're working. There's so many things we need to look at. We need to look at all the problems around us and connect dots from the disruption. We also need to look at culture, our history, our geography. How do we connect dots and bring about cultural change that adds value? We need to differentiate ourselves. What is our unique selling point? What's my potential? What's my talent? What's my passion? How can I apply that to the problem, issues, and challenges I see to create opportunities, projects, initiatives, products, and services? And then we need to outcompete ourselves. And I'm an apostle of the blue ocean strategy. I have never ever felt I should compete with another person. It just doesn't resonate with me as a person. I wake up every morning, I have my quiet time. I reflect on what I really want to achieve for the day. And I'm thinking of how can I improve myself, and how can I learn more, and how can I apply the knowledge I have gathered to solve problems. So I think on a daily basis, each and every one of us has to think about how can I go to bed tonight being a better version of myself. I mean, I'm one of those people who signs up for online training. So whether it's edX, whether it's Coursera, whether it's actually applying to go for a conference, a workshop, a seminar, whether it's actually even applying for a grant, applying for an award or whatever. So I spend time filling forms. I spend time engaging with people. I spend time doing a lot that adds value to my environment, my community. And I think each and every one of us has to do that, because that's the way to become the best version of yourself. Another thing is looking at lemons. And I like the saying that you can make different lemonade flavors out of lemons. So a lot of people would pick up a lemon. Somebody would pick up a lemon and say, oh my God, I don't want this lemon because it's very bitter. And they wouldn't do anything about a lemon. They'll go and get an orange. But I know people who are wired differently. They will take a lemon and they'll think, okay, I can make lemonade out of lemons, or they can even make different flavors of lemonades. And this is where I think teamwork comes to play. Don't try to solve a problem on your own. Ask questions. Call your friends, your family, call people you've encountered. Share these questions rather than criticize or complain. Ask questions. So we need to have the spirit of asking questions so that we can make different versions of lemonade flavors from the lemons that are thrown at us. Because consistently and continuously, the only thing that is constant is change. And at each point in your change journey, different things will be thrown at you. How do you change your lens? How do you optimize the way you're wired? How do you connect your dots? How do you create value? So these are the things that make us the best version of ourselves. And you can only be the best version of yourself if you have a can-do spirit. And I like I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me, because these are some of the things that really encourage and motivate me as a person. And I think each and every one of us has to have that mindset. One thing I can tell you is in the next few years before we get to 2030, between 2023 and 2030, we have 7 years to attain the Sustainable Development Goals. So I'm sure most of us know about the Sustainable Development Goals, which were defined in 2015. And then a target of 15 years was established for each and every one of us to attain Sustainable Development Goals in our communities, in our countries, in our businesses, and different. So I would say each and every one of us needs to start from understanding what the Sustainable Development Goals are. There are 17 Sustainable Development Goals, which in reality are 16 plus 1. And if you want to be a value creator, a problem solver, a person with a can-do spirit, and you want to become the best version of yourself, you need to have at least 2 or 3 of these sustainable goals, development goals that resonate with you as a person. 1 is no poverty, 2 is zero hunger, 3 is good health and well-being, 4 is quality education, and so on and so forth. And for me as a person, I'm very passionate about quality education. I'm passionate about gender equality, and I'm also very passionate about industry, innovation, and infrastructure, apart from energy, which is, so I do a lot with girls in STEM, women in engineering, women in energy, and women in entrepreneurship. So I really have a focus. I think each and every one of us needs to focus on what are those things that are very, very obvious to me, or what are those things I feel very passionately about? What is my passion? What are the things that bother me? The minute you find out that something in particular is bothering you, then I can honestly assure you that God has definitely given you an assignment to crack that problem. And if you can't crack it on your own, you need to find people who you can work with and crack those problems too. So looking at the environment, social, and governance issues, I know a lot of us hear about ESG. ESG compliance is one of the major things that are being looked at globally. Funding and different dimensions of performance and indices are being measured around the environment, social, and governance issues. So we need to connect the Sustainable Development Goals to ESG compliance, to how do we improve our environment. One thing I like to encourage young people in a country like Nigeria is that we have major problems with energy. Meanwhile, we have a lot of waste, and there's so many dots to be connected around waste to wealth. So I'm one of the members of the panel of judges with the Royal Academy of Engineering Africa Prize, and I see some very exciting waste to wealth solutions coming from different African countries. People are converting plastics into blocks. People are building with renewable material. People are converting waste food into biogas, biomass, and running and cooking with clean fuel from waste. So there's so many things we could do. We could come up in teams to clean up the environment. But how do we start even identifying what these problems are? I think we need to discover our purpose. You cannot become the best version of yourself if you do not discover your purpose. And purpose is a combination of your calling, your career, your service, and your job. And how do you get there? You've got to understand what you love to do. I mean, and this is so important because you need to speak to your family and friends to look at the history of what did you like doing as a child? What did you like doing in primary school, secondary school, in university? A lot of us love doing something, and at some point we went on a different tangent. But we really need to be focused. To become the best version of yourself, you really need to focus on how you're wired, why you're wired the way you're wired, and what problems around you should be solving. You also need to look at what does the world need? What does your organization need? What does your family, your community need? What does your country need? How do you plug into a need to create value? And then you need to look at what are your strengths? I mean, I hope each and every one of us at some point has sat down with a blank sheet of paper and done a SWOT analysis on ourselves. What's my strength? What's my weakness? What are the opportunities I see around me? What are the threats I see around me? And how do I connect my dots to be able to leverage my strengths to be able to create value? So if there's anything I want all of us to take away today is that for us to be the best version of ourselves, we need to be value creators. We need to connect our potential, our passion, our talent towards solving problems, issues, challenges, and in so doing, create value. And then what can I get paid for? So you may get paid for monetarily, you may get paid for with goodwill, you may get paid for with influence, you may get paid for with exposure or promotion. So, I mean, I think we need to move away from the fact that everything must be monetary. There's so many ways you can get paid, compensated, recognized. I mean, you could get an award, and that award could lead to opening a particular door. And the way I look at things is that there are keys to several doors. And the only way you can make progress in life and become the best version of yourself is if you get the keys to those doors. And the keys are not necessarily money. Keys could be your network, keys could be relationships, keys could be exposure. So please don't let us limit our keys to money, because sometimes a relationship may be able to solve a problem for you much faster than all the money in the world. And connecting dots is based on so many different keys, and we really need to understand that there are different types of keys that we can leverage. But the most important thing is that we must know our purpose, and we must remain focused on our journey to unleash our full potential and achieve our purpose. So these are some of the things we need to really look at. Another thing is that those of us in Africa are very blessed. There's the Africa Continental Free Trade Agreement ongoing, and the world is going towards a smaller connectivity and a world being a global village. And for us in Africa, one of the major things is that there's a renaissance going on at the moment. I know we're all aware about what's going on in the French speaking countries with the digital social media, LinkedIn, Twitter, Facebook, WhatsApp, and even platforms like this. The world is becoming a global village and a smaller, a condensed entity through digital. So by the press of the button, even just tweeting something or Xing something, depending on what you think of Twitter or X, you could actually get some reaction in split seconds. But the good news is that there's so many opportunities for Africa and Africans in diaspora. And I'm an advocate of Africans connecting with other Africans all over the world. So when you hear people are jackpying and moving across the world, I think even those who emigrated 2-3 generations ago, this is a good time for us to connect with our fellow brethren all over the world, to leverage technology to solve the problems that are currently confront us. So 2 problems I'd like to talk about right now is probably food security and energy security. And this is tied to safety. So I can see that if we look at food security, that's something that looks at the agricultural value chain, looks at the environment, looks at process technology, for example, instead of exporting raw materials, which is what we do in Africa, and buying finished products. How can we come together, aggregate our strengths, collaborate through partnerships, strategic alliances, consortia, joint ventures, collaboration? How do we collaborate to enjoy the economies of scale? How do we come together? And that's one thing we really need to work very hard on: teamwork. Together, each achieves more. So apart from teaming with people in your immediate environment, you can team with people virtually through digital, and you can also connect with Africans in diaspora and even other people from all over the world to be able to leverage technology, to be able to take things from an idea to a bankable business plan, to an investment opportunity, to a business opportunity, and going to export of finished products. But how do we get the kind of process technology and the processing done in the communities where the mineral and natural resources exist? Take, for example, gold. I mean, you can see that a lot of Chinese people have moved into gold communities, and a lot of people are. So where you have artisanal miners, young Africans doing the menial work, the people who are able to aggregate the raw materials and process the raw materials are making a lot of money. Same for cocoa. I mean, we have cocoa in different locations, but the people who are making the chocolates are totally different from the people who are harvesting and farming in the cocoa lands. The same, I mean, lithium, for example, even all the mineral resources and the metals and metallurgy that we have that are going to be producing the solar, the electric vehicles, the requirements for our smartphones and technology, laptops, artificial intelligence, Internet of Things, augmented reality, virtual reality, mixed reality, extended reality, all these technologies we're talking about in the 5th generation, the mineral and natural resources exist in Africa. But we're not really studying materials and metallurgy in our universities or in our ecosystem, and we're not even optimizing the fact that those mineral and natural resources exist here. So we need to begin to look at education beyond getting a certificate from a university. We need to begin to look at how can I glean information. How can I go online and research? Take, for example, lithium. Do I understand the value chain of lithium? Do I know how to take it from the ground, beneath the ground level, to what is required on a smartphone? Do I understand the various gates and the various investment phases that I need to go through to be able to get the finished product? Do I need to partner with my friends, my colleagues, my family, people I've met online, whether LinkedIn, social media, conferences, workshops, seminars, wherever? How do I bring people together to solve major problems? And this is where I think we are not doing as much as we really need to do. We need to start from an idea and take it to a bankable business plan. There's economics of it, there's the administrative side of things, there's the legal side of things, there's the technical side of things. Where do we get this talent? How do we get groups and committees together to do things together? Do we need an advisory board here? Do we need a board? How do we establish the enterprise, the business, to be able to create this kind of value? Most things today cannot be done by an individual. Most things today cannot be done by one company. You can see strategic alliances across organizations, institutions, non-governmental organizations, even countries. So we need to begin to look at, how do we solve the energy and power problem? How do we solve the agricultural problem? How do we solve the hydrocarbon optimization problem? We're in the decade of gas, for example, in a gas province like Nigeria, yet there's no power, yet the cost of electricity and the cost of fuel is so high. How do we do CNG, LNG, different gas projects? How do we get gas to power? How do we leverage gas to produce what we require? How do we solve the logistics problem, health problems, manufacturing problems, construction problems, fabrication problems, banking and finance problems, political problems, online? How do we leverage technology, edtech, meditech, fintech? There's so many techs. There's so many things that we can do. And we really, really need to begin to look at that. And how do I become better and best in areas where I do not have competencies? Let's look at waste to wealth, for example, converting waste to building blocks, to power, to petrol. There are different hydrocarbon solutions we can get from waste. And this is an area where I think we're not doing enough. We need to understand my why. What is my why? Why do I wake up in the morning, and what should I be doing when I wake up in the morning, and what problems can I solve on an annual basis, over a period of 3-5 years, and how do I take that back to quarterly basis, monthly basis, weekly basis, daily basis, and then how do I optimize my time? Time is the only currency and resource we have that is irreplaceable. So the most expensive and the most valuable resource anybody has is time. Because from the day you're born till the day you die, you're counting down on minutes, seconds, and hours. And I always tell people that I'm racing against time to achieve certain goals before I turn 60. I'm racing against time. And everybody sees me and they think I'm just, well, why can't you just even relax? And why can't you take things easy? And I'm busy explaining to them that I set some goals for myself. And these goals are goals that I'm racing against time to achieve. So if you don't have a SMART goal, which is specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and time-bound, you won't be racing anywhere. You'll be distracted and people will be dragging you back and forth and taking you on different tangents. And you find out that at the end of the year, you review your New Year resolution or your plan for the year, and you haven't really achieved over 85% of your goals for the year. So please, I hope that between now and the end of the year, each and every one of us will spend time putting down SMART goals for 2024, and then we'll begin to work to ensure that we manage our time and we understand the importance of time, and we're able to execute smartly with our family, friends, and people in our network to be able to achieve our goals whilst we're growing. You need to grow on a daily basis, not just grow physically by eating and drinking. You need to grow mentally, psychologically, materially, and even intellectually. And it's in so doing that you become a better version of yourself and the best version of yourself. So it's a continuous process. So one thing that is very important for you to become the best version of yourself is to leverage relationships. Because I mean, I know the saying in the Bible that one shall put 1,000 to flight and two 10,000. And teamwork is also together each achieves more. So what sort of relationships can we even leverage? Our family. I mean, I know about just recently, I went on a course and then they asked us, do every member of your family that you're close to know what you actually do? And I thought about it and I realized that at some point in my life, I realized that my children didn't even know what I was doing. This was about 15 years ago. I was just asking my children during one holiday, what do you think I do for a living? And they thought I was a teacher. Why? Because I'm always talking about you must learn this, you must do this. So my children just naturally thought their mom was a teacher. They had no idea that I was an engineer. They had no idea I was running my own business. They had no idea what I was doing. So I think a good place to start is to even ask your nuclear family, what do you think I do? And then the feedback you get from them will even help you become a better version of yourself or a best version of yourself. Connect with some childhood friends who you respect. I mean, the people you've known from ages 3 to 10, for example. Call them, send them a WhatsApp message, reach out to them to say, what do you really think I do best? Or what do you think I do? Because it's in gathering information and asking these questions that you can begin to fine tune and align your life to understand your purpose and how you can become a best version of yourself. Connect with your schoolmates as well. Those you went to primary school with, secondary school with, university. Connect with your colleagues, connect with your associates, connect with your social acquaintances. It's in engaging people, it's in networking. Is it also in, also, I would also want to talk about becoming the best version of yourself by volunteering. Volunteering is one of those things that a lot of people don't do enough of because everybody thinks they need to be paid for whatever they do. I'm a testimony of being blessed through volunteering. I've volunteered for so many things, but I must tell you that one of the volunteering opportunities I did was I was flying to Abuja early one morning, and there was a gentleman on the flight with me who we're both in the oil industry, and he asked me what I was going to do in Abuja, and I told him what I was going to do in Abuja. And then he now said, I think you do a lot of youth empowerment stuff. Would you be interested in supporting us with the Energy Institute in Nigeria? We're trying to look at how we can get more young people involved. I said, oh, definitely, I volunteer. So we exchanged numbers, and that was it. Much later, I got invited to the setting up the Energy Institute in Nigeria. And from setting up the Energy Institute in Nigeria and the managing director of the Energy Institute in London visiting Nigeria, I got invited to become a member of the Energy Institute in the UK board. I served on the Energy Institute in the UK board for 2 terms of 3 years, which was 6 years. And just upon completing that term, I got invited to join the board of the Energy Institute International Energy Week, IE Week. From there, I got invited to be on the panel of judges with the Royal Academy of Engineering. So this was just a chance meeting on a flight to Abuja early one morning, and somebody knowing that I'm very passionate about young people, and somebody saying, would you like to do something for young people? And I said, yes. And I didn't even think about whether I was going to be paid or whether I was not going to be paid, because I wasn't paid for my volunteer work with the Energy Institute. But I must say that in monetary terms, I benefited from that relationship, even though in cash terms. And when I say monetary terms, I mean, I'll get paid and compensated over doing different things that are related to the primary thing you're doing that you're not paid for. So the short-term orientation of how much are you going to pay me now, or what is in it for me, it's just for me, it's just not okay. Not only have I grown, I've learned a lot. I've met people that I would probably never have met in my lifetime. I've been exposed to things that are not in my narrow path. So I would encourage everybody to volunteer. Another thing I'd also recommend is to become the best version of yourself. Find a mentor and find a coach. You don't need one mentor or one coach. You can have different mentors. You can have a mentor for your private life. You can have a mentor for your career. You can have a mentor for business. You may have a male mentor, a female mentor. I would say just look out when you go for conferences and workshops, seminars, or you read about people, find a mentor. I read about Dr. Mrs. Olatokunbo Shomolu when I was in school in England. I visited Nigeria for one of my summer holidays. And when I came back finally, I reached out to her. She was the one who actually gave me a note to NMPC Netco. And that's how I found myself in the oil and gas industry. And she's my mentor. So I'm just saying that you can read about people, and reach out and responsibly engage people and get mentors. Mentors open doors for you. So there's so many doors and gates in life that you need to travel through. You need people who can open doors for you, who can help you, advise you, stretch you, and help you see the bigger picture. So please network a lot, have mentors, coaches, and please volunteer. That helps you become the best version of yourself. Then you must always connect your dots. Connecting dots is so important. I'm an engineer, so I'm always trying to find symmetry. I'm always trying to find straight lines. I'm trying to find connect dots. And when I was a young child, I used to play connecting dots. And then, so you just connect the dots and then you get a picture. So I'm so used to walking to a place or looking into something and just seeing symmetry or synergy somewhere and connecting dots. So whether you're with your peers, your superiors, whether you're on the football pitch, whether you're driving, whether you're playing basketball, whether you're watching a movie, always try and find out what is the problem here that I can solve. What are the things that are important to me? How can I improve the system? So you need to be in discovery mode 24/7. You need to be in adventure mode 24/7. You need to be scanning your environment and trying to see what really doesn't look right. What can you do better? What can you improve? Where's the problem? Where's the opportunity? And how do you do this? And then you need to have your tribe. You need to have your tribe. So your tribe are the people that you are comfortable with, that you are honest with, that you can speak honestly with each other, and they can tell you the truth. So when I see people who are in the clouds and I see people who think they're the best thing since sliced bread or are pompous and arrogant, I definitely know they don't have a tribe. Because if you have a tribe, people who are brutally honest with you, and I can tell you, I have a whole bunch of tribes. My sisters are my tribe. My Sunday school teacher friends are my tribe. My childhood friends are my tribe. Do you understand? So, and these are friends I've known for over 50 years. So these are people who would tell me the brutal truth. You don't want sycophantic, newly acquired people in your immediate environment surrounding you and deceiving you when you're going on the wrong tangent. You really need people who are brutally honest with you, who will stretch you and who would encourage you to be the best version of yourself. So you must discover and know and have your tribe. People who would be brutally honest with you, who would help you connect your dots when you have to connect dots, who would stretch you and who would share opportunities, advice with you, and just want you to become the best version of yourself. So please discover, know, and have your tribe. And then you've got to involve yourself in getting to your goal. And I always tell people that social media is something that people use effectively, and some people just waste their time on social media. So I would encourage you to get your curriculum vitae done, updated after every course and every knowledge you've acquired. Have a profile, a personal profile, an executive profile, a personal profile, personal statement, like they call it for the younger generation. Make sure you have a decent passport photograph of yourself or professional photograph of yourself. Have a LinkedIn, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, WhatsApp account, and make sure you're very focused in the use of those accounts. So don't post everything and nonsense on those things. You must be very deliberate and intentional to be able to build a brand, a personal brand, a professional brand, so that you are an approachable person and opportunities gravitate towards you. So once you've identified what your vision and your mission are, you need to set smart goals for yourself and begin to take action so that you can be successful. You need to have the right profile. You need to be able to connect with people. You need to join the right groups. Join the right associations, the right institutions, the right societies. Go on a continuous professional development program. If you're an accountant, do ACCA, CFA. If you're an engineer, try to become a chartered engineer. If you're a medical doctor, try and get the professional certification so that you can specialize. So you want to move from general into specialized if that is your route. If you want to stay in general, try to become a consultant even in the general. And you try and be an expert or a consultant in an area that is specialized if you want to. But wherever you are, make sure you are the best version of yourself. And that really is so important, becoming the best version of yourself. So I'm going to leave you with some advice about identifying problems, issues, and challenges, and leveraging your potential, your talent, and your passion to create opportunities, projects, initiatives, products, and services from which you'll be compensated. So you need to be able to look at the picture of whatever you're seeing. So on a daily basis, as you're moving around, wherever you find yourself, even in your house, even in your kitchen, even in your bedroom, even your living room, even on the road as you're driving or as you're in a vehicle going somewhere, you must see, you must look and see to discover the who, the what, the why, the when, the how, the which, the where. You must always be asking yourself these questions. What's going on? Why is it looking this way? Who is behind this? Who, I mean, and I normally say that we don't really, most people just look at the surface. Please don't look at the surface. Try and go behind, look at levels. And, you know, like the onion has many levels. To get to the core, you have to remove so many layers of the onion. So always think of the big picture behind the big picture behind the big picture for the bigger picture and the biggest picture. So always broaden your mind, and that's the best way to create a blue ocean strategy. There's no point fighting people for an opportunity or for a particular thing. We can't afford to be small-minded. We need to have a wealth mindset. We need to move away from a poverty mindset where we think there's not enough. There's more than enough in the universe. And even in Yoruba saying, you know, my grandmother used to say that the sky is enough for birds to fly and they don't clash. So you can just see how big the sky is and how wide the ocean is. You don't need to clash. There's enough space for everybody to flourish and to add value and create value, because there are enough problems, there are enough issues, there are enough challenges wherever you find yourself. You just need to connect your dots and try to become the best version of yourself. So I would advise you to find an accountability partner. An accountability partner is somebody you work with, whether it's daily, you check in with the person, or weekly or monthly, it could be annually, whatever. An accountability partner is somebody who holds you accountable to what you say you will do. So you're not just saying, I will do this, and you don't do it. The accountability partner will help you remain focused. Find a mentor, find a coach, look for role models, and read autobiographies, biographies, research people, have a Google alert for keywords that are aligned with your potential talent and passion and the problems, issues, and challenges you want to solve. So that on a daily basis, you're able to understand the state of the art, or the best in class, or the most recent information, and acquire it to be able to make a difference. And then you must continuously spend time with God. It's so important to spend quality time with God, because divine wisdom, knowledge, and understanding, inspiration, illumination in your heart, and revelation knowledge only comes through spending quality time with God. And above all, you need to be very focused, very diligent, to be able to craft smart goals. And that's through divine inspiration and revelation knowledge. You're able to craft smart goals. And from crafting the smart goals, you're able to reflect on who are the people that I should engage with questions that could help me answer this particular problem, issue, or challenge in the smartest way. And how can I grow and become the better and best version of myself in solving these problems? So it is in solving problems, going through the adventure of trying to do what you've never done before, or trying to address the seemingly impossible through collaboration with the universe and people that the universe have blessed you with, who are in your network, who are in your community, who are in your ecosystem, that you become the better version of yourself and the best version of yourself. And prayer is the master key. I always tell people that if you have to have a praying life, you have to have a reflective life, you have to believe that God is there to support you and bless you with creative ideas. You have to be very conscious of the fact that fear is the greatest obstacle you can put before yourself, and fear is false evidence appearing real. You need to be courageous, be bold, like Joshua. Joshua 1:6-8, it says, be courageous, be bold. Let's go out there, because we know that a journey of 1,000 miles begins with a first and single step. And I pray that each and every one of us will be bold and courageous, will overcome our fears, and become better and best versions of ourselves. And I hope you found this useful, and I'll be very happy to take questions if you have any questions for me. And I hope you found it useful. Thank you. Hello, I can't hear. Is anybody speaking to me? Hello? Hello?
Okay, Ma. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for this awesome session. Very insightful. We'll be taking questions now, and then we'll be posting comments for the engagement. Hello, can you hear me, everyone? So if you have questions, kindly post on the comment section, and Dr. Amao will be answering them. However, we would also be posting comments, we'll be sharing comments on the screen to enable engagement. Also, thank you so much, Ma, for your time. Thank you so much for this insightful session. I don't know if you are seeing the comments, but there have been a lot of conversations going on there.
Dr. Mo, can you see the comments and the questions that are being relayed?
Okay, so I can see a question. Um, could you read out the questions for me? Because I can see a lot of questions. It'd be nice if I could get them one at a time.
Okay, so the first question says, how do you plug into a need to create value?
Okay, thank you so much. I think that's a great question. How do you plug into a need to create value? You need to be able to identify a problem an issue or a challenge that bothers you. So whatever bothers you means naturally God divinely wired you to address it. But the problem I see in Nigeria is that rather than on try and figure out the strategy to solve that problem, we make it a topic and we make it trend and then we discard it. So I always tell people that there's so many ideas that surround people who are divinely wired to solve those problems creatively, but they don't see the problems, issues, and challenges as an opportunity to create value. In solving those problems, you will either be creating a project, an initiative, a product, or a service. And in so doing, you're automatically creating value because you will get compensated for those things. So don't talk about things and complain about things. We all need to stop that spirit of complaining. And that's why we haven't made much progress in Africa. We must stop complaining about whatever confronts us. We should see that problem as an opportunity. Why do you think people leave all these continents and come to Nigeria? I mean, if you go to Eco Hotel or you go to Federal Palace Hotel or just in Lagos alone, Four Points, Radisson, Southern Sun or Movenpick or whatever it's called now, Hilton, the expatriates there paying anything from about $250 a night to some ridiculous amount of money a night. Why do you think they're in Nigeria? They're here because they have seen a problem, an issue, and a challenge, and they have strategized on how they're going to come into this country and convert those problems, issues, and challenges into opportunities. So why are we here? I mean, you don't have to pay a return ticket to arrive in Nigeria. You're already in Nigeria. You don't need to stay in a hotel at $250 to maybe $600 or $1,000 a night. You don't need to be running up and down looking for people to work with you. You are a Nigerian. The problem is right under your nose, in your background, in your backyard. Why haven't you connected with your primary school friends, your family, your colleagues from university, your contacts in diaspora all over the world, and even your friends or your tribe to say this is a problem? How do we tackle it? How do we define the problem? How do we create a concept note about this problem? How do we define the talents that we need to solve this problem? How do we come up with the vision, the mission, the goals, and the objectives? How do we structure the board of trustees, the board, and the organizational structure to run with this? How do we take this idea to a bankable business plan and an enterprise or a business? And how do we sustain this problem-solving opportunity to be able to create value sustainably? And one person cannot possibly do this alone. So we need that spirit of community, that spirit of collaboration, cooperation, and coordination of resources. And we need, and I always say, I know people say I don't want to share my idea with somebody because they will steal it. Please, there's so many ideas that they should keep stealing it. But I can honestly tell you that we need to begin to look at the legal dimensions of our actions. We need to be able to copyright, patent, and document certain things. We need to get lawyers involved. You can have a non-disclosure agreement or confidentiality agreement with somebody before you share an idea with them, so that if they go and implement the idea behind your back, you sue them. I know we have issues with our courts here, but I can honestly tell you there are different ways of skinning a cat. I mean, if somebody offends you and you are able to communicate effectively to the right people, like I always tell people, before I engage anybody, I need to have references. You need to be a credible person. You need to give me your personal reference, your professional reference, and your spiritual reference. I need to know that you're a responsible person. I need to do my homework and research about you, that you're not a 419. You're not one of those people that will just steal my idea and run away with it. You need to be a credible person. Your track record must say you're credible. So we need to come together to address these things. And it's in solving these issues, problems, and challenges based on what we see around us that bothers us, that we go on the journey and the adventure of creating value.
Thank you so much, Ma. Thank you so much. That was so profound. You mentioned that there are different types of keys we can leverage to open doors. And Moshood also added a comment here. He says that it is also important not to stay too long trying to open a door. Seek other doors rather than dying trying to open a particular door. So I would want to ask on behalf of everyone here, what are the different kind of keys we can leverage to open the doors? Can you shed more light on it, ma'am?
Okay, the most valuable key really is your network. So if you're a person of integrity and a responsible person, people from your primary school to your family would have known that this is, you're an honest person, you're a person of integrity. A lot of people are like very fake or 419. They don't understand that at much later in life, even the criminals don't want to do business with criminals. When criminals want to do serious business, they go and look for people of integrity that will not criminalize the relationship. Do you understand? So build your credibility and your integrity. And for me, I would say that your network is so important. There's always somebody who knows somebody who knows somebody that has the key to the most difficult door. And there are also steps you can take to approach the most difficult door in a different manner. So it depends on how important that door is to you. If that door is critical and you need to get through that door, you will have to find a way to get through that door. And I must tell you, through prayers and intercession, you will get a revelation about how to open that door. I'm not one for moving to doors, one door to another. No, because if I get a revelation that this is a door I need to go through, then I mean, until I get another revelation that that's not the door, I'm going to be on that door. And I have to be honest with you, if God has actually told you to open a particular door, the universe will shift on your behalf to get you the key to that door. You just have to remain focused and persistent. Think big and start small. I think that's a very good idea. It's better to make mistakes on small projects and small things. But I would also say to be able to do big things, you need to collaborate, cooperate, and coordinate resources. And that's where you need to have confidentiality agreements, non-disclosure agreements, and memorandum of agreements that are legally binding for you to be able to do things together. So, but I must say that this is what works for me. I think everybody on their journey of life and their adventure of life will have to understand what works for them because we're not all wired the same way. So some people may be able to take more risk than other. I'm risk averse, so I'm very, very careful. I don't do business with everybody. Even if you tell me there's $1 million somewhere, if the person that is supposed to be doing the business with me looks like a crook, I won't touch it. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ma. Thank you so much, Ma. We will take the last. Okay, Moshood just asked another question, but someone sent in a question now. Kemi Hazan, and she said, in a case where you can't seem to connect to your childhood friends, as you are perceived as too far reaching, or have unrealistic goals and expectations, what do you do then?
Well, like I said, you have childhood friends, you have university friends, you have colleagues. So these are some of the reasons why you need to join associations, institutions, and societies. They're good networking platforms. So and everybody in that group has a common goal. So if you're involved in the continuous professional development and you're trying to move from an associate to a full member to a fellow in an association, institution, or society, you automatically meet people there. But I must say your childhood friends, uh, you need to connect with your childhood friends. Why? Because for one reason or the other, God put them in your life at that season in your life. And no matter how much you've achieved relative to those childhood friends, there's got to be something in them. There's potential in them. They could have the network, they could have the 360 vision, they could have the out of the box thinking for whatever. Please, please, please. I think it's very important you reach out to different people at different times in your life because God puts those people in your life for a purpose.
All
Something I
right.
saw something about WhatsApp group. I'm so sorry because I know. I mean, WhatsApp group is so important.
Yes.
Why
So
does
let me
WhatsApp
read it. Okay.
I think you need to know which WhatsApp group create value for you. I mean, several WhatsApp groups. Most of them I'm a silent observer. So, but there's some WhatsApp groups that are so important to where I'm going. Take, for example, I'm on the Stanford Business School Seed Transformation WhatsApp group. I'm on the Petroleum Technology Association of Nigeria WhatsApp group, Women in Energy Network, WIMBIZ Network. There's, We Connect, Vital Voices, international and national. There's specific WhatsApp groups that I visit at least once a day. There's some that I don't visit. Some of them are archived. So you really need to look at your goals and objectives. And the ones that are not critical to where you're going, please archive them or visit them when you're in somebody's waiting room or you have time to spare. But the ones that are taking you to where you are going and are critical to your goals and objectives, please visit them at least once a day. And then you don't have to say something or post something on every group. You can be an observer in most groups and know the groups where you want to challenge the status quo, you want to contribute effectively. I think the most expensive and irreplaceable resource we have is time. So time management is key in our journey of life. And we really, really need to optimize our time and not make a mess and a waste of it. Thank you.
Thank you, Ma. There's even a continuation to the question, and I'm just sharing it now.
Well, for me, I must tell you, I always tell people that, when you're on social media, whether it's LinkedIn, Twitter, Facebook, WhatsApp, you really need to know why you're there. If you're there to learn, it's totally different from if you're there to engage. I know, through LinkedIn, I've met a lot of people. From LinkedIn conversations, we've gone to DM. From DM, we've gone to emails. From emails, we've gone to contacts, exchanging contacts on WhatsApp and phone calls. And in some cases, we've actually arranged to meet for tea, coffee, lunch, and we've actually engaged. So you need to sit down and do a journey map of how your engagement style looks. From social media, do you just want to be a social media contact with the person, or do you want to really get to know that person personally and build a relationship with that person? Because sometimes somebody you meet on social media could become a person you work on a project with. I met a guy on Twitter, and we've run a lot of youth empowerment programs together because he's an IT person on the programming side, and I'm an IT person on the application side. So, there was synergy there. And it's definitely a professional thing. I don't know his house, he doesn't know my house, but we've run projects together in the office. And his company has a memorandum of agreement with my company. So we ended up having a corporate relationship through meeting on Twitter. But it went in phases. So you need to do your homework. You don't want to meet somebody on social media and it's a 419 relationship. So you need to test the authenticity of the individual and then decide how far or how near or you want to keep the relationship. But I think we really, really, really need to know what we're doing on social media, and we mustn't waste our time on social media. We must be on social media with specific goals and objectives, and we should be deliberate about achieving those goals without wasting our time.
Thank you so much, Ma. I'm sure everyone would want to have your social media handle.
Let me try and get my social media handle. I'm very active on LinkedIn because for me that's so important. I think it's so important to have professional conversations because that's what actually drives my business activities. I'm going to put it in the chat box now. So please reach out to me on LinkedIn. And then on Twitter, I go to Twitter a few times. Facebook, I hardly go there. Instagram, I hardly go there. But I think it's so important that we are very, very focused and can say specifically why we need to be taking relationships further than social media. It's so, so important that we build relationships for the medium to long term. Nobody wants to be engaged with somebody who is a hit and miss and a short-term oriented opportunist. There must be mutual value to be created in relationships for those relationships to be sustained. So even with your mentor, your coach, your role models, you don't want to go to them asking for something. You need to go to them to be able to say, I've done some research on you. I think this is an area where I can add value to you, so that you're having a reverse mentoring session with the person, or reciprocal mentoring session person. If you're creating value for each other, the relationship is more sustainable than if it's a one-sided relationship. So let's avoid one-sided relationships, and let's try and create value for each other.
All right, thank you so much, Ma. Thank you so much. We're really grateful for having you on board and having to discuss with us on becoming a better version of ourselves. I'm sure a lot of us have many more questions, but because of time, Dr. Mao's LinkedIn profile is here for further engagements. So please try and connect, follow her, and send in messages. She mentioned about mentorship, and that's very, very profound. And I'm sure we can also get that by reaching out to her. I would be handing over to our convener, Mr. Loa Kayode Adigbo, also known as Pake right now. Please let's welcome him.
Wow, awesome. Thank you very much, Dr. Mrs. Amau. Um, I had my heart open to receive quite a lot, and I've not been disappointed. If you look at my background, you see that I've changed my position because I had to quickly run down to another position where I can actually conveniently take notes. You said quite a lot in very few words and a short period. And I pray sincerely that this generation that we're trying to project, support, assist will take advantage of these things. God bless you richly and abundantly. I pray that more virtues and strength be replenished in you to do much more for higher grounds and greater heights as you go along in the journey of life. Having said that, I'll end with a question to you that has been a sort of contemplation between some of my friends, one of them on this platform that you know, and others outside this platform. But before I go to that question, which you answer, and then we round off, is that one of the profound things that you mentioned is about three things: having a personality. I've discovered that the black man has a challenge with identity crisis. Our personality, we are not able to identify ourselves. And that's why even a black American, so to say, sometimes a musician will be praising himself. Hardly will you hear a white musician praising himself. And so we have a challenge with identity crisis, and personality is very key for me. Other things you mentioned in that regard is being passionate. A lot of people struggle in life with things they endeavor into because they don't go into things they have a flair for, that they are passionate about, that they don't struggle with. For instance, if you look at me, I don't struggle with talking with people. If you wake me up at 2 a.m., I'm ready to talk and go all the way. And lastly, which is very, 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 very profound, is the idea of relationship. A relationship with anybody, with things, is what God actually recognizes. As a matter of fact, as human beings, the only thing we have with God, call him Father, call him Jehovah, call him friend, call him Savior, is relationship. And God is not even obliged to give you some of the things if you don't enter into certain relationship. So thank you very much for the things you've imparted us with, not only the youth, but even people of my generation. And when you talk about waste to wealth, I quickly wrote that down because you and I will have to, at some point, do some waste to wealth. Thank you. So my question is, and I want you to please be very frank, fresh, and plain with us. I've been discussing recently with people to say, I think this generation has more opportunities and a better environment, so to say, for them to achieve success within a short period. And people think otherwise, that our own generation, ancestors, I call us gen ancestors, have more opportunities and a better environment. And I say, I don't think so. And I begin to count, but don't let me give my own opinion. I'd like you to discuss that in a few minutes before we take our leave today. Thank you once again.
Okay, thank you so much for your questions. I mean, quite interesting. In terms of personality, I have to be honest with you, the worst thing anybody could do to themselves is have a personality misunderstanding or a personality clash. And I think it's very sad that the wiring post colonialization really messed up a lot of Africans. I mean, if you do, I mean, if you go and study history, Benin Kingdom was way ahead and superior to the United Kingdom before the colonialists came and destroyed the Benin Kingdom. That's some history. Even the Times in the UK records the fact that when they came and found Benin Kingdom was so structured that they were in awe of Benin Kingdom. So we need to do ourselves the service of researching our history. If you don't know who your great grandfather was, your grandfather was, your father was, and you are not proud of your heritage, then you'll be a confused person. When I go anywhere, I'm going there as a representative of my heritage. That is my maiden name on Odeko, and my husband's name Amao, and I'm representing not only the Amao and the Onodeko family, I'm representing women in STEM, I'm representing women in engineering, women in energy, and women in entrepreneurship. So it's going to take a lot for anybody to confuse me or sway me because I didn't show up on my own. The greatest mistake you can make is to be individualistic and show up as an individual, because I mean, an individual is just a sitting duck for destruction. But if you are a pair and in your head you are not a person, you are a representative of people, your tribe, your ecosystem, your community, then you can take a position that is stronger. So we must never ever think that we're individuals. We're representing God and man wherever we find ourselves. That is so fundamental. And I think we really need to take that on. Then if you are confused about who you are, please go online and look for personality profile analysis. There are PPA tests. It will tell you whether you are an indoor person, an outdoor person. Even you yourself, you can sit down. Do I like working in the night? When am I most productive? There's some questions. I mean, there's some questions. We have some questions that we give young people to discover their purpose, basically. So, I mean, please connect with them. I mean, that's my organization, Lonodec. So but go online. They're free personality profile analysis that you can do to make you understand yourself. So please get online and discover who you are. If you don't know who you are, then it's going to be very difficult for you to succeed in life. How can you be the better version of who you don't know or the best version of who you don't know? So please, identity crisis is something that you must avoid like the plague. You cannot afford to have an identity crisis. You must, that's why I said reconnect with your family, people who saw you in diapers. Ask your granny, your aunt, no, your granny's probably be dead now. Your aunties, your uncles, your parents, if they're still alive, and your childhood friends about yourself. People who saw you can tell you more about yourself. And then you can look at how you've transitioned from age 0 to 7, to 7 to 13, from 13 to 19, teenage years to young adulthood. You need to be able to chart that map yourself and understand where you deviated from purpose. Because much earlier in life, you probably knew purpose. And then at some point, you get distracted. So that's what I would say in terms of personality. So don't let's get confused by what the colonialists did to Africa or did to us. Let's go and do our research, go and check our history, see how productive we are. I did when we were doing some induction for DPR staff. There was a book I had to ask them to read by force. There's a book by Jimo Odutola that tells me the incredible things that the Odutola family did in the 40s and 50s. The Odutola families were making tires in Nigeria from rubber plantation. Odutola was traveling by air in the 50s. And you can imagine he had a car. Can you imagine traveling from Ijebu-Ode to Lagos to catch a flight in the 50s when most people, Africans, were in the bush farming with a hoe and cutlass? Dan Tata was building pyramids of granites in the north and co-constructing the railway with the British colonial masters. The emirs in the north were going on holidays to England to hobnob with the aristocrats and playing polo with them. There's a book you need to read, Emirs in London. We need to read more. We need to research more. There's so much information out there that where we are today, maybe if we go back and check our history, we could be better. And then that brings me to the other question, the last question, which basically says whether things were better then. Things were better then on the analog dimension because people were strategic, were focused, and they were able to leverage our mineral and natural resources and negotiate contracts that were patriotic. And that's where local content is so important to me in the oil and gas industry. But let's go there because that's another lecture. But what we have today for the Gen Z and the young adults is they have technology. Technology is there for them to leverage. And I must tell you, with technology, what people were doing in months and days, we can do in seconds and minutes. So I mean, I think we need to look at a combination of the old and the new. It's not a one size fits all, and we need to be strategic. So older people can be on advisory boards and boards to give strategic direction to the younger people who are tech savvy and can implement and execute. So if you look at the pyramid of team collaboration, you have the base where the organizational or the basic things are being done, operational things are being done, and then you have the tactical people who are doing the strategic implementation. And then you have the strategy people at the top. That's why teamwork is so important. A combination of different personality traits, a combination of different strengths need to be collaboratively put together so that we as Africans can enjoy the renaissance that presents itself to us at this point in time. Thank you.
Thank you very, very much. We can't thank you enough. And this is an open invitation. You can't even reject that you're already a mentor of the trustees of True Riches. So you're welcome on board. I can't thank you enough on behalf of the fellows and the arrows of trustees of True Riches, all our partners, and indeed the attendees of today's program session. I want to thank you once more and thank the Father of Lights, in whom there is no variableness, for giving us this opportunity to reach out to the next generation. My people will be seen again next month on the Hero to Hero platform, which is our experience sharing session among one of our fellows. Just keep in touch and stay tuned. As you go away, please go to our website to register as an attendee and becoming one of the members of Trustees of True Riches program as we marry you or match you with one of our mentors. Stay blessed and have a good weekend ahead of you. God bless you. Thank you all.
Thank you.